All right, rounds 2 and 3 of the 2025 NFL Draft had the Chiefs pretty busy as they drafted 3 players, all on the defensive side of the ball, to some fans' disappointment, rather than, maybe scooping up a skilled position player on offense, running back, or receiver. But let's get into why I don't mind these picks at all and why I think we could see some of these picks happening tomorrow here in a bit. First up, they opted to draft defensive tackle Omar Norman Law out of Tennessee, 63rd overall. And I actually do like the guy. I saw him mocked a bunch to Kansas City as the months went by, but he did go a little earlier than I expected. And I think the biggest thing here is, at least to start out, he's primarily going to be a rotational guy along the defensive line, doing what he did in college in the sense of not coming out to play a ton of snaps. He played like 25% of snaps during the season. They said it was kind of a scheme thing. That is how they operated at college. That was what the Chiefs Senior Director of Player Personnel, Mike Bradway, said. But still, that is a second-round pick on a guy that hasn't played more than just a rotational piece or a rotational snap count on the defensive line. So it seems a bit of a high pick to bet on the potential what if of him being more than a rotational guy. But I can't help but really like him. His presser was awesome, and he's genuinely grateful for the opportunity the Chiefs gave him. He made me smile like the whole presser, and he's just honored to be here and be a part of Chiefs Kingdom, and he thought there was a chance he would end up with them. He had quite a top 30 visit, a Zoom call, and he's ready to come and do whatever the coaches ask of him. Now, in college, this is what I'm getting at. He averaged just 17.3 defensive snaps a game in 2024 and never played more than 33 snaps in a game. He's also a bit undisciplined at times. That quick step has him jumping the line pre-snap. And here's how I know that. He was penalized 12 times in 2 seasons at Tennessee. So yeah, a rotational guy, but get this. This is where it starts to get good here. He led all FBS interior defensive linemen in pass rush win rate, 12.6%, and win percentage, 18.9%. Well, that's not only fantastic, but with him paired next to Chris Jones, that's going to present a problem. He's 6'2", 303 pounds, and if you look at his relative athletic score, you can see why he's twitchy off the snap and can shoot gaps well. He's got a quick first step, and that vertical and broad jump helps showcase why. He's very explosive for his size, can shoot gaps well, and that quick jump combined with long arms and stiff hands has him often pushing blockers back on their heels. He also gets off the line well to chase a ball carrier, but can tend to miss a tackle or end up on the ground and out of the play. He's not perfect, but you can tell he loves the game and strives to get better, and maybe he will end up being more than a rotational guy here in the next couple of years. I mean, getting a guy along the interior was a no-brainer. Turk Wharton is gone. Derek Nottie is gone. You do have Jerry Tillery on a 1-year deal, but Chris Jones needs the help. You need young bodies around for years to come, and this was a pretty good get, in my opinion. So, D-line, definitely a need. And I wasn't sure that they would get an edge rusher right away, but wouldn't have been mad at it. Well, just a few picks later, that is exactly what they did. They selected a defensive end, Ashton Gelati, out of Louisiana with the 66th pick of the draft. So literally 3 picks later. And the first thing I want you to see here is his relative athletic score. Look at this thing. This man is an athlete, with his pro day really impressing the Chiefs scouts that were there in attendance. He has a high motor, plays physical off the edge, and actually had a connection with George Karlaftis. I believe George's coach at Purdue was then the coach for Gelati, and he kind of linked them up, and Karlaftis would watch film with him and give him pointers to help him take his game to the next level, which I found to be pretty cool. Chief Senior Director of Player Personnel Mike Bradway said that you can feel him when you watch the tape, as he's a guy that is always around the ball. He was a 3-year starter at Louisville, recording 11 sacks and 14.5 tackles for loss in 2023, and 4.5 sacks with 10 tackles for loss in 2024. He actually had 58 pressures, though, in 2023, and then 57 in 2024. So again, that's why sacks aren't everything, and why they were saying when they watched his tape, it felt like he was always around the ball. This man can rush the passer. He's 6'3", 264 pounds, only 22 years old, and while he is a bit undersized, he bulked up in college, actually going from just 212 pounds, which is kind of nuts because I'm 202, so 10 pounds more than I weigh, kind of crazy, but he bulked up from that to 264, and he said his mom helped train him, which I thought was pretty awesome, and you can really tell the guy loves football. This is what the Chiefs like to do. Younger guys, 22-ish years old, that just love to play the game. They love to study film, everything about the sport. They want to bring them in and just mesh them with a lot of the roster that already kind of vibes the same way. Now, Dane Brugler thinks that he can be an immediate rotational rusher with long-term starting potential. That's good news there. That's what you want. Long-term starting potential, hopefully sooner rather than later. Again, he is a bit undersized for the typical Spags defensive end, but they liked what they saw in him enough to take a chance on him at the beginning of the third round. It's also worth noting that this was the pick that Casey got from the L'Jarius Sneed trade, using it to fortify the D-line a bit more for the second pick in a row. So you go interior D-line, you then go edge or defensive end, if some people don't like me saying edge. So I didn't know that they would double dip there, but I definitely didn't mind it. I was then wondering what was next. Are you going to go wide receiver, running back? Where are you going to go? And speaking of corners, I mean, they used the L'Jarius Sneed trade pick, the third-round pick from the Titans, to go ahead and get Ashton Gelati. I've got to talk about the Chiefs' next pick, who is a ball hawk that racked up 14 career interceptions. But first, if you want to have your nutrition goals easier than ever by having fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals shipped right to your doorstep, then look no further than to the sponsor of today's video, Factor. I know we all live very busy lives, and for me, the less time I have to spend on lunch in the kitchen, the better. Well, Factor takes the stress out of meal planning, allowing you to skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue to set you up for success. I like that. These chef-crafted meals are not only delicious, but they are ready to eat in just 2 minutes. That's perfect for me because the quicker I can eat and make more content for all of you, the better. It also helps that there's over 35 meals to choose from each week, like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or Vegan and Veggie, and also more than 60 add-ons from breakfast to cold-pressed juices like this one, pineapple, turmeric, basil, and so much more. I went back to the keto meals this go-around because I typically eat pretty low carb, and while the Baja shrimp was a first for me, I hope it's not the last because it was freaking fire. Then the queso fundito as well as the chicken Florentine did not disappoint, but honestly, it was all good per usual, which is why I've been using Factor for nearly 2 years now. So if you want to eliminate the hassle of prepping, cooking, or cleaning up and enjoy great meals like these, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code 50HBTC to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50HBTC at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. All right, guys, the Chiefs then went defense once again in round 3. So all 3 picks of the day, D-line, and now cornerback. But this might honestly be my favorite pick of the entire draft, and that is going to be cornerback Noel Williams out of California. The Chiefs were so high on him that they actually traded up 10 spots to go and get him. They moved up from pick 95 to 85, trading with the Patriots. And to get him, it was a little costly here. They had to give up next year's 4th-round pick. That pick was what they got for trading away Joe Thuney to the Bears, but it seems like it was worth it to Veach and his scouts, his team, the front office, etc. Nothing screams extreme athlete per se when you look at his relative athletic score, but stick with me because this guy is something else. He ran a 4.540, sure, but for an outside corner that plays as physical as he does, that's more than quick enough for the most part, and honestly, that's why you have safety help at times. Anyway, this is interesting though. He ran a 20.05 miles per hour, 45-degree back pedal at the combine, which was the fastest there among all corners. So he's shifty, can move well, and track routes at an above average level. He's a playmaker, like the definition of a playmaker, scoring 4 touchdowns his last 2 seasons in college. He scooped up 2 fumble returns and housed them. He then had a pick 6, so had an INT and housed that, and even returned a kickoff for a touchdown. That's right, he has special teams experience that could earn him an instant place to contribute his rookie year. The guy had 12 kick returns for 331 yards last year, and again, housed one of them. He's also super durable. The guy has played every game the last 3 years in college and is very, very physical. He prides himself in making plays against the run, loves to tackle, and in the last 3 years, he had 12 interceptions, 14 total in his career, which is insanely impressive. The 7 he had last year led the FBS, by the way. He's also forced 3 fumbles and recorded 38 pass breakups in college. Noel is only 22 years old as well, and at 6 foot tall and 200 pounds, he's a very spagsy, sized corner, a smooth mover in both man and zone, has great vision, and could eventually see himself making a real impact on defense, even rotating in this season. Noel told the media this evening that part of his ability to make plays on the ball is he just works on it a lot. He's consistently working with the jugs machine, practicing ball skills in practice, and is always working to hone and perfect his craft. Mike Bradway told the media tonight after the draft that he's more pro-ready, talking about Noel, is more pro-ready than a lot of corners they could have taken in that range. And I have a feeling they didn't want to chance him going, and because of the run on corners, they went up, got him, locked it in, and this told you they really valued him. VIDS did say multiple times there would be some great corners value-wise in rounds 2, 3, or in the beginning of 4. So there you have it. That's what they went and did. Round 1, offensive tackle Josh Simmons could be your left tackle of the future. Then round 2, defensive tackle Omar Norman Lott. A few picks later at the beginning of round 3, defensive end Ashton Gelati. And then trading up in round 3 near the end of it is cornerback Noel Williams. If you can make the defense great again, like top 5, top 3 in most categories, that is absolutely fantastic to me. Getting another outside corner is only going to help. They added Christian Fulton as well. You have Jalen Watson. You do have Joshua Williams, Nazeeh Johnson as well. But a lot of those guys are on the last year of their rookie deals, and that's a looking ahead into the future, yes. But for this year, if any of these guys get hurt, it's just going to make the floor of that room just that much better. I also can't forget that Trent McDuffie is out there, but he could kick into the slot at any time now. You could then move Chamari Connor to play safety, and the defense is going to get a lot better from a coverage standpoint, and that's going to help the D-line that you're also adding weapons to. Omar Norman Lott, the guy who can line up next to Chris Jones and rush the passer. You could then put Ashton Gelati on the edge, and he could try his best to do the same as they rotate him in and out as well with Charles Omenihu, George Karlaftis, and others. Now, while these were all defensive picks that made sense, you need to build in the trenches. It's very important. I understand that some fans are kind of like, hey, where are the skilled position players? What about a running back? What about a receiver? Well, the Chiefs still do have a 4th, a 5th, and 3 7th round picks. And if you look at the best players available, there's still running backs that the Chiefs are going to be able to get if they want to in round 4. Cam Scatteraboo, Dylan Sampson, Devin Neal, DJ Giddens, Damian Martinez, they brought him in for a top 30 visit. I will say this, you're going to possibly have to make a decision though, because you don't have a lot of like impact wide receivers left. Jalen Royals is there. Alec Ayumenor, I say his name wrong every single time. I apologize. Isaiah Bond is available. He's falling because of a little bit of off the field stuff going on. So you might have to choose wide receiver in the 4th round or more of a dynamic playmaking running back in the 4th round. And then if you go wide receiver, you might, like whoever is still left, it might not be as dynamic and just kind of more of a role player. This is just how the board fell. This is what the Chiefs opted to do. You do have a pretty good offense as long as they stay healthy, which is really the key here for the team. Hollywood Brown, please stay healthy. Rashee Rice, please stay healthy. Isaiah Pacheco, stay healthy. Then the O-line is going to be better as well. In theory, with Josh Simmons, you have Jalen Moore on that 2-year deal. Hopefully Josh Simmons doesn't really need to play, but he is depth in case of injury. Jawan Taylor. You then have Trey Smith on the tag. Hopefully a long-term deal gets done with him. Creed Humphrey, and then left guard is the only question mark. Maybe it's Kingsley. But let's see what the Chiefs do with their 4th, their 5th, and their 3 7ths. Let me know your thoughts on these draft picks. How are you feeling about it? And yeah, if I'm stumbling over my words or feel a bit spacey, it's because I'm recording this video at 1 a.m. and I'm absolutely exhausted, but this is the draft. This happens. It gets late. I want to get out the content for all of you guys. It's very important to me. But again, let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments down below. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?